Olá, amigos do Espaço da Mente, do Brainspotting. Eu tenho o prazer de conversar aqui com Deborah Antinori, que é americana e é treinadora de Brainspotting, e vai falar conosco um pouco mais sobre a ligação dela com o Brainspotting, o trajeto dela e sobre o que ela quiser, ok? So thank you very much for this opportunity. So what would you like to tell us about your experience in relation to Brainspotting?
Oh, thank you so much, Andre.
Yep.
We had spoken about where you have been a psychodramatist.
Yeah.
That I came into the world of psychology through through the back door as an actress originally into drama therapy. So front center stage then on with drama therapy.
Great.
At New York University. And the head of the department there, Robert Landy, who has his role theory. So the idea that there's no self, that it's all the different roles that we take on at different times. So when you think of parts work and ego state work, kind of expanding a little more into fictitious roles of the archetypes of the wise old man or woman, or the baby, or the
So is
the
that a bit
misanthrope.
related to Jung's work as well? or-
Very much,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I think he draws a lot from that. So I just loved my schooling at NYU. And we also had Robert Soroka for psychodrama, and David Reed Johnson, who has wonderful developmental method of drama therapy. So it starts out with movement, and then sound, and then image, and then word and language, and then the character is fictitious and then psychodramatic. So it's the ease with which the person can slide up and down the scale, the comfort that the person has with this, that kind of shows the health or the restrictions or the fears. It's just really an interesting way of working. So from there, I concurrently studied Paso-Boyden system psychomotor therapy, and that was Al Paso's work, who was originally a Martha Graham dancer.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And he found that he wondered about extraneous movement in a choreographed piece. So anything in the dance that all the dancers were doing the same movements, but somebody would have a little something, in there, a little
Twitch.
yeah. He would make exercises to control for variables, and found out that all that extraneous movement had emotional meaning. So from there, he developed psychomotor, which is very much based on movement and impulses, pains, whatever we may feel in the body. And then psychodramatic in structuring out the mind, the world, the history of the person as it comes forward. So in psychodrama, we might have, your mother, your father. In psychomotor therapy, we would have the loved aspects of your mother, if that's coming out, or the critical aspects of her, or the judgmental aspects of someone. We might have a witness, somebody to be a witness to your situation. And then the hallmark of that kind of therapy is the ideal parent figures.
Okay.
And that's really what the child
So
needed.
reparenting the client, right?
Exactly. So individuals will play those roles, and only the exact wording that the client wants and placed where the client wants them. And it's
Very structured in a way.
it's structured that way and tailored to the client, and brain spotting-ish in that if we're putting out something like, say, if this is representing the loved aspect of my mother, say there was a little table here, and we put it here, and the
And
person says,
observe.
oh no, over this way a little, over, no, back more, that's it, no, up, that's it. Just like when we find the brain spot, it's right where the sweet spot, right where it needs to be for the activation or the resource. So from there, I did hypnotherapy, and then EMDR. I met David Grant. So I was a demo for the performance issue. And
Okay.
as an actress, I was fired from what was supposed to be my big break. And it actually ended up being a company that had been very hip and very popular, but they had reached their max and the whole tour folded a month after I was fired. So it was one of those...
A symptom of the company in a way.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was carrying this around for 20 years, even after I left the business. And so this work that I did with him when I was a therapist then was so instrumental in my seeing how, oh my gosh, I knew intellectually, but I really felt and knew that this was not me being untalented, not funny, not good.
Had nothing to do with you in the end.
Nothing to do with that. So then came the brain spotting. It from the natural flow EMDR moved into the brain spotting. So I'm in private practice and I'm a trainer now. And I love, absolutely, I'm a consultant, so I love working with supervisees. I have several supervisees, very honored to work with them. And
but do you have a focus, like related to arts or clinical in general, or adults, or?
Yeah, pretty much adults, a lot of grief and loss.
Okay.
And I do have an audiobook. I wrote an audiobook. I started out writing poetry on pet loss. When I lost my dog, I don't have my own human kids, and my first baby that died, my little dog, I just started writing. It just came out. I don't even really know if you'd call it poetry, but it ended up sort of following the phases of grief, the way it came out. So I made an audiobook, and I was really fortunate. I got 2 awards for it.
Wow.
And I was really
Great.
honored by
you.
that. And I felt like there were a lot of written books on pet loss. And for me, when I'm really grieving, I try to read something and it's like, read it 5 times, didn't go in. But I can listen to things. So I have suggestions for and tell my own story. There's the poetry on there, and my friend, my wonderful composer, musician, Marcos Estevez from San Francisco, he generously gave his music that's behind the poetry, and in all the transitions from one chapter to the next in the audiobook. So, I really have a focus on grief and loss, also trauma. But now with brain spotting, it really is more people hear about, they want somebody who's doing brain spotting, which I love when somebody comes in and they know what they're coming in for, and we work, and it's just such a wonderful way of working. So I absolutely love what I do. I'm in Munich now, and I think I was, other than David, the only American here. So for this master class, which was wonderful.
It was remarkable.
Really a fabulous experience, because I had not taken a master class prior. So this was a great experience. And then I'm also very much studying Demir Del Monte's work. He's now Dr. Demir Del Monte, because he's finishing he's done with his medical PhD and had his psychology PhD prior. So I'm going to be learning from him more, and he'll advise my PhD in looking at brain spotting with EEG.
Good. So, and you're taking the PhD program in the US, and he's going to be your advisor.
Right.
Or one of...
It's one of these programs. It's called International IUGS, International University for Graduate Studies, and several of the brain spotters have come through this. That it's really devised for the adult learner who has done loads of things, trainings, presentations, whatever in their life, and they never put that into the PhD. So you mostly go in as all but dissertation.
Oh,
and
great.
so they look at everything you've done and see if it's credit worthy or not, and do you have to take some coursework, whatever. And then you have to have your own advisor. So I'll have David Grand and I'll have Demir, which I'm so honored and learned so much from. And he now too has some videos out that I highly recommend people look into, that I think Andre will have the email that you can go to ask about. There were 2 full days on the brain and the regulatory system, stress, and brain spotting.
So it's a neuroscience 101, and then expanding.
Right, and then a day in Amsterdam with David Grand, where the 2 of them are talking back and forth together. They each have their own individual time, and then they speak together about brain spotting and about the neurobiology of it, because we know that we see clinically that we just get these tremendous results all over the world as well, Andre. And,
sure.
But actually being able to say why and where it is in the brain, we're hoping that we're not sure if it's going to show anything remarkable or not, but we're going to take a good hard look with a super scientist, Dr.
Great. And
Tamir Del
that's
Monte.
wonderful plans.
So it's very exciting. And then I just wanted to plug a little my colleagues that we have at least we have the 3 institutes, Rocky Mountain Brainspotting Institute in Boulder, Colorado. We have the Southeastern Brainspotting Institute in Atlanta, Georgia, and we have the Midwest Brainspotting Institute. And all 3 of them have websites and wonderful resources. Sometimes there are webinars, or they'll open up they'll have a local brown bag lunch with a speaker, or they'll open it up on video Zoom so that you can participate and learn more what the various specialists are doing in the brain spotting area. And I'm going to be developing my own brain specialty that will be more brain basics that then would lead into, what the scientist then does, kind of like the brain for brain spotting therapists. I took a medical neuroscience course through Coursera.org, and it was a Duke University.
Dr. White.
Dr.
I did the course.
You did it? Well, then Isn't it fabulous?
Fantastic.
I'm so excited because
Yes.
I love the course so much.
Fantastic. I got the book and I got to read it all over again.
This is the thing. When I took that, then everything Demir was saying, I knew where to plug it in, and it all makes sense to you. So this is where then I do my teaching in phase 1 or whatever of like why we would do what we do, why that subcortical brain is so important, and what is coming along in development, which parts of the brain, and why there's that thin little connection from the poor little prefrontal cortex that's the last thing to develop in evolution, in gestating.
And the processing as well.
And the processing and child development to adult. So, we have these regulatory networks that they're the ones that we really want to focus on, and that's what we think we're getting to with the brain spotting that we see so well. So that's my thoughts, and this has been a wonderful opportunity and honor, and thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure too. I'm very glad that you said all of those things, and we're going to share this with all our colleagues in Brazil. So I thank you very much.
Ooh, I know. Can I give you my website?
Sure. There you go.
That is www.petlosaudio.com. So PETLOSSAUDIO.com. That's me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Colegas do Brasil, foi ótimo conversar aqui com a nossa treinadora Débora e já trago mais notícias para vocês, ok? Até já!